some Israelite groups, like I did that video on the guy from the IUIC. You guys ain't got no business out there teaching. You got one guy, when the question was asked him, hey, do you guys go into the Hebrew and the Greek? Oh no, we don't go into the Hebrew and the Greek. We don't mess with it. What?
Well, then you don't truly understand the scriptures. You don't truly understand the scriptures because there's certain words in the scriptures that you got to go. You have to go into the Hebrew or the Greek. It tells you that in the, you might as well put the Apocrypha down. Because the Apocrypha says that the words are more, I'm paraphrasing, words are more powerful if spoken in the Greek.
That's right, that's right.
And then you're reading the King James Bible, right? And there was, I believe, it was 47 scholars, Hebrew and Greek scholars that put together. Do you know any of those guys? Can you name me one of them? No, you don't know them guys. You don't know how good they were with the Hebrew.
Right.
And then I did a video, I featured a couple of words. First one from the Old Testament, which Apostle brought out, the Hebrew word for
thick clay,
which in the Hebrew is ibatya, which means debt. Now I'd love to see, since you guys at the IUIC don't go into the Hebrew or the Greek, right? Scoff at that.
What does that mean?
I would love to see you break down Habakkuk 2 and 6 and explain the part where it says thick clay, since you don't go into the Hebrew.
Another example is Job 20. Where it says the wicked,
every hand of the wicked shall be against them. This is
Job 20.
Yeah, 20.
So look, if you come across in Acts, what is that? Acts 12, where it speaks about Easter, Acts 12:4. You guys don't celebrate Easter, but you'll say, well, the word that's supposed to be there is Passover, Passover. Well, how'd you know that? Did a little bird tell you that?
Might as well keep Easter.
The three little birds come by your doorstep singing sweet songs.
And we can't forget Deacon Iron Dunn, who said they can never teach their doctrine. You know, Ram, you always quote that.
Yeah.
They can never teach their doctrine in the English. They always got to go into the Paleo Hebrew.
Coin Greek.
We haven't forgotten that.
Because that's why you can't get the MOTB. You say it's spiritual, it's sin. It's not sin. The word Mark, M-R-A. And then you know what these guys do? They'll go to Mark in Revelation 13, then they'll go to Mark, and then you got the word. They're different words. That's why you got to go in the Hebrew, man. You got to go into the Hebrew and the Greek.
Yeah.
Romans 16 and 17 and 18. It says Mark them. That doesn't mean the same thing as Mark in Revelation 13 and 16. Are you out your fucking mind?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, another one. You guys are making the Hebrew a doctrine. You can't make the Hebrew a doctrine.
Hebrew is part of the doctrine, man. Greek is part of the doctrine, man.
That's
why these scholars, when they put these books together, they break down the scriptures, they'll say that this comes from the Greek. Oh, wait a minute, man. Wait a fucking minute. I'm getting pissed the fuck off. Then Greeks can make it, right? Greeks can make it. What is that? Galatians
3.
Galatians 3 and 28.
There's no difference.
There's no difference between Jew and Greek. What you gonna say then? Oh, that word means it. From what? Where you get that from?
Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who teach and rule well in all truth and sincerity. Shalom, peace and blessing to the hopeful elect, the house of David, which consists of the 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native American and Seminole Indians. All right, so I played the short clip from the camp that the elder apostle did this past Saturday, and they were going into how important it is to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, all right, and the Latin, because that's what the scriptures was translated from, and that's the Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew is the holy tongue, our original language. So, and to have 100% truth, to be able to teach the full correct doctrine out of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, you have to go into the Hebrew and the Greek. All right, you can't teach the full truth without doing so. All right, and as you heard him quote the scripture in the Apocrypha, All right, we gonna start with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get it. I don't know. I was sitting here struggling, so like it. This is the prologue of the book of Ecclesiastes, also known as Sirach, and we gonna start. Let's see what it said. It's in the first Let's see what we can start at. We can go straight to the point. All right. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1. All right. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. All right, so there you go, man. All right, and it's telling you straight up, all right, plain, that when they're speaking this, bastard tongue, all right, this bastard language called English, all right, it doesn't have the same force. It doesn't have the same power as when we speak in our original language, in our original tongue, which is the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kodash. All right. And when breaking down the scriptures, all right, when going into the scriptures and breaking them down, you may have words in the English. It's the same English word, but it has they got totally different meanings in the Hebrew. And that's why the apostle was saying that you gotta go into the Hebrew and the Greek. All right, and we're gonna get a few quick examples. All right, I don't want this to be no long lesson. All right, so of course we're gonna start with that word mark, which the apostles were going into. So we just gonna get that example real quick. All right, so let's start with mark of the Lord. All right, in Ezekiel, and I think that word is thawah. All right, so this is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. All right, and the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahushua said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. All right, and let's go get that word. Let's go get that word mark. All right, because you got to go into the Hebrew, man. The Hebrew and the Greek. All right, just because it's the same word in English, don't mean it has the same meaning. All right, it's two different words in the Hebrew. All right, let me see. Ezekiel 9 and 4. All right.
Strong's H8420. Tav. Tav.
All right, did I get the right one? Yeah, that's it. And it's that word is thawah. All right, a mark by implication, a signature, desire, mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. All right. So let's go get Revelation. All right. And that's the Lord's mark in Ezekiel. All right, that the Y. All right, so the MOTB, all right, is Karagma.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
All right, Karagma or Karagma, as we said. All right. And of course, it's the imprinted mark. All right. On the right hand of the forehead was the blue letter kind of going opposite as the followers of the Antichrist. And we know it's many Antichrists. But you know, thin carved sculpture, graven work, and that's gonna go under your skin, man. That's that C hip. All right. So you can see it's different words, man. Because just because it all says mark in English. All right, let's get another example. Let's get the mark in Romans. Mark them that cause divisions. What's that? Romans 15? Might be 16. I should have Googled it. I know it says mark them which cause division, and I think that word is scopeo. Oh yeah, here it is. Romans 16 and 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. All right, and like I said, I think the word here is scopeo. Yep. Let's see what it is.
Strong's G 4648. Scapeo. Scapeo.
Yep, scopeo. All right. So you can see, man. All right. These all the word marks, but they're completely different. All right. When you go into the Greek and the Hebrew. All right. You can see, man, this mark here is to look at, observe, contemplate, to mark, to fix one's eyes upon, direct one's attention to. All right. So there you go, man. So you got to go into the Hebrew. All right, let's get another example. Let's get let's see. We can do world. Let's do world. All right, of course we're gonna do John 3:16. All right, and we know this word here is talking about the word of Israel, pursuant to Isaiah 45 and 17. But nevertheless, that's a different that's a different topic within itself. That's a whole nother lesson. All right, but let's get this is John chapter 3, verse 16. For the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. All right, so let's get world here. Let's get this word world. Cosmos.
Strong's G 2889. Cosmos. Cosmos.
All right, cosmos, or cosmos, as we like to say it. All right. An apt and harmonious arrangement or constitution or the government. All right. Ornament, decoration, adornment, arrangement of stars, heavenly hosts, as the ornament of the heavens, the world, the universe. All right, which we know. Which we know it ain't the literal, world. It's talking about the word of Israel, like I said, pursuing Isaiah 45 and 17. Now let's get the other word. What another one had? Esdras. Let's get that one in Esdras. For Esau, it's the end of the world. What's that second Esdras? The 6th chapter. I think it's in the 6th chapter. Second Ezra 6. You're just gonna type in a verse. I think it's around the night. Oh, the blue letter on ain't got the Apocrypha? You've entered an invalid reference to book 2nd Ezra 6:9 cannot be parsed correctly. Please enter invalid. Let me see. Salaki, bear with me for a second. I'm trying to see something real quick. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can get another one. I just knew that one off the top of my head, but we can't go into the Apocrypha with the blue letter. Behold, out of the world. That's gonna be cosmos. All these gonna be cosmos. Let's just see. Like I said, Salaki, bear with me for a second. I'm just trying to find an example that I know would be that different the other world, all right, which is eon, which means age. So I'm just trying to find a scripture real quick that I know. This might be one here, Matthew 13 and 39. Let's see. Yep, I think this it right here. All right, Matthew 13 and 39. The enemy that sold them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. And this is going into the account of the tares. All right, as you can see here, the tares explained. All right, so that's Matthew 13 and 39, and the word here is eon, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see.
Strong's G 165. Ion.
Yep, ion. That's in the Greek. All right, and you're gonna get the third one right here. All right, period of time, age. All right, so you can see it's the same world, but it's two different meanings. All right, so you got to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, man. All right, as the apostle was saying and making that clear. So these other camps talking about, they always going into the Greek. They can't teach without going into the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin. Well, to have full truth, you got to, man. You can't teach the scriptures without going into the Hebrew and the Greek. All right. And I think the Apostle Hall mentioned Acts. I think he mentioned Acts 4, the 4th chapter. So let's get that. So you gotta go into the Hebrew and the Greek, man. That's a crucial part of this truth. All right, the Hebrew and the Greek. All right, the Hebrew is a part of the doctrine. Not Acts 4 and 12, Acts 12 and 4, Salaki. Because as the Apostle Gabar was saying, they quick to say, well, we don't celebrate Easter. Easter is talking about the Passover. Well, how you know that without going into the Hebrew, all right, and the Greek. All right, so let's get this real quick. This book of Acts chapter 12, verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers, of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. All right. And that's going into when Herod was killing the prophets. All right. And then this account is when he was about to put the apostle Peter to death. All right. So let's go into that word, man. Easter, which we know is Passat, talking about the Passover. All right, but we just showing you how it's important to go into the Greek. All right, in the Hebrew. All right, Acts 12:4. All right, so we're gonna get this word Easter, which we know is Passat. All right, Passover. But we gotta prove it. We gotta read scripture say we gotta prove all things. All right, and this is in the Greek, G3957.
Strong's G 3957. Pascha. Pascha.
All right, Pascha in the Greek. All right, Passat in the Hebrew, which is Passover. All right. We're just gonna say Passover. The Passover sacrifice, which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old from Egypt. All right, which is the Passover, man. The Passover lamb, the lamb the Israelite was accustomed to slay and eat on the 14th day of the month of Nisan. All right, which is the Passover. All right, so. Cause of course we ain't celebrate no Easter, man. We don't do no damn pagan Easter, which is coming up this weekend, man. So we don't do that, all right. But as Apostle was saying, IUIC there, they quick to say, well, that's talking about the Passover. It says Easter in English, all right. So they being hypocrites, man. You saying, well, they can't teach without going into the Hebrew. All right, they always got to go into the Hebrew and the Greek. But when they come across scriptures like that, they say, well, it's talking about Passover, as the apostles pointed out. All right. But talk about GMS for I'm always going into the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin. All right. All right, so let's stay in Acts. Let's get Acts 26:14. And I just want to get a few scriptures to show how the Bible clarify, going into the Hebrew. All right, because it gives certain accounts. But those scriptures tell us that they spoke in the Hebrew tongue, and that's emphasized for a reason. All right, showing you, all right, that the Hebrew is very important. All right, this is the book of Acts chapter 26 verse 14. And when we were falling all to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. All right. And then I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest. All right. So showing you, all right, that our forefathers, all right, they spoke the Hebrew. All right. They weren't speaking no English, man. I mean, of course, we read it in English. Our heritage was taken from us, man, which showing you that our language is an important thing, because one of the curses that the Lord was sending a nation against us, whose tongue, all right, whose language we would not understand. All right, because we speak in the holy tongue, the Lashon Kodash, the Paleo Hebrew. All right. So I just want to get a few scriptures. All right. That clarify that, that we spake the holy tongue, man, back in the ancient world. All right, this is Luke 23 and 38, and this is going into the crucifixion, all right, of Yahushua. This book of St. Luke, chapter 23, verse 38, and the superscription also was written over him in the letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews, all right? Well, and that's why the apostle go into it today, man, the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin. Because those are the three languages, All right, main languages our people spoke, man. That's why Pilate put that inscription up there in the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin. All right, and you had men like the Apostle Paul who can speak the Hebrew and the Greek. All right, which is why he was an apostle to the Gentiles. All right, so I just want to get a few scriptures on that, man. All right, let's go into John. Let's get John the 19th chapter. Let's get the 13th verse. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Yahushua forth and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. All right. And let's see what that word is, man. All right, John 19:13. I just want to see. I'm just curious. I want to see what this word is. All right, Strong's G 1042.
Strong's G 1042. Gabbatha. Gabbatha.
Gabbatha. All right, elevated or a platform, a raised place, elevation. All right, yeah, man. So that's why the scriptures clarify, all right, which is called the pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha, or Gabbatha in the Greek. All right. And let's stay in John. All right, let's go down to the 17th verse. And he bearing his cross went forth into a place called, this is going to Yahushua. All right. Well, he's crucified. All right. This book is St. John chapter 19 verse 17. And he bearing his cross went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is in the Hebrew, Golgotha. All right. All right. So it's clarifying, all right, the Hebrew names, man. All right, and it gives the same account here in John, all right, about the inscription. All right, we'll just start from 17 again and read down a few verses. All right, through the 19th or 20th verse. All right, and he bearing his cross went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and two other with him on either side, one and Yahushua in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was Yahushua of Nazareth, King of the Jews. This title then read, Many of the Jews, for the place where Yahushua was crucified was not to the city. And it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. All right. So there you go, man. All right. So showing you how important, all right, it is to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, all right, particularly. Also the Latin, but, mostly the Hebrew and the Greek, all right. Specifically, the Hebrew, because that's the holy tongue, all right. That's our original language, the language that the Most High Himself gave us, all right. And as we started the lesson with, all right, when we speak in the Hebrew, it's more powerful than speaking in this bastard tongue, which is English, all right? Especially when we pray, man. It's important, to send up them prayers in the Lashon Kodash, the Paleo Hebrew, all right, the holy tongue, because it has more power, as we read in Ecclesiastes, all right, the book of Sirach. All right, so like I said, I ain't want this to be no long lesson. I just wanted it to be, plain, to the point, all right? So it's very important, all right, to go into the Hebrew, all right, when you studying and you reading the scriptures, especially when you breaking it down and teaching, all right, because And as we just did a few examples. All right. You may see the same word in English, but when you go into the Hebrew and the Greek, they have totally different meanings. All right, so you can't teach the truth without going into the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin. All right, so I just want to, bring that out. Hopefully this was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the Apostle Elder Great Millstone, DTA, Ababa Ball. Shalom.